Well, hello there. How are you doing today? I hope everything's fine and dandy in your little part of this strange realm. And so today we're going to have a wander through outer realms and, who is really in control in this realm. So do remember that don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything you hear on the videos. This is all for entertainment purposes. And it's all about being autodidactic and coming to your own conclusions, building your own point of view. So, with that said, let's jump into it.
Antarctica is supposed to be this beautiful place, untouched by civilization, but these alleged leaked photos suggest they're covering up something big down there. So, Antarctica is the only continent governed by a treaty of over 50 countries that dictates where you can and can't go. 100,000 tourists visit every year, but only on approved ships, typically to the peninsula, and only in designated zones. The rest of the continent, well, that's apparently off limits, for your safety, of course. But what if they're hiding something down there? In 1910, British Captain Robert Falcon Scott launched the Terra Nova expedition. Here are the official photos. Pretty standard. The goal was to reach the South Pole, but this mission was doomed from the start. A Norwegian team actually beat them there by a full month, and on the return trip, Scott and his men got trapped in a blizzard just 11 miles from safety. 8 months later, a search party found their frozen bodies, their diaries, and their photographic plates preserved in the ice. But images allegedly pulled from those recovered plates have been circulating online, and they appear to show something that shouldn't be there. There's stone ruins, statues, pyramids, evidence of some unknown civilization. But are these photos real? Well, most people agree that it's just AI. So, debunked, right? Well, not so fast. There's this strange connection here that we can talk about. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820. So why does this map, drawn in 1513 by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, appear to show Antarctica's coastline 300 years too early? And it's not just the coastline, it's also ice-free. And it's not just this one map. The Orontius Phineas map of 1531 shows a full southern continent with mountain ranges and river systems. And there are other maps too. Some believe these maps were based on ancient source maps from some unknown prehistoric civilization with the ability to navigate the globe. And while Antarctica has been under an ice sheet for the last 34 million years, scientists think that there were certain coastal areas that were actually ice-free as recently as 6,000 years ago. So could someone have found Antarctica and built a civilization down there? Well, as of now, the evidence doesn't really support it. And even though those photos are likely AI, there are a lot of other weird and interesting things going on down there. But anyway, what do you think? And what do you want to hear about next on my conspiracy iceberg?
What do you think? What do you think about Antarctica? Is there land down there? Is it frozen? I don't believe that it's been frozen for 34 million years. They love their millions of years, don't they? Just to push everything so far away that they can fill it with their BS stories. I'm sure that there are civilizations, at least the remnants of civilizations down there. Antarctica, if you look at the old maps, what we're told is Antarctica, right? Antarctica is a land. All the old maps show that it was land going the whole way around. Obviously, the Monty map from 1597, I've covered that on my main channel quite a few times. It shows many more continents, a lot more land. But, most of the maps from the 1600s show this massive landmass, like right across the whole bottom of the map that stretches the whole way, as big as the whole Earth, right? So, and that's in a rectangle. So if you put that in a circle, it goes the whole way around, right? But let me know in the comments, what do you think they are hiding in Antarctica?
There's another continent, the size of North America. On the other side of Antarctica, no one's ever seen it before. And he said, I can't believe that no one's ever stepped foot on this. And right away, they start a treaty saying nobody can go over there where he went. And if humanity found this out, even though it's speculation, if we still, as humanity, found this out, millions would go south, millions would go north, if not billions. And then their governments, the universities, it's gone. You want our world back? That's what humanity needs to actually do.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. Only 30 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, Our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do. See, go.
Well, Admiral Byrd, may I ask you, is there a great difference between the top of the world and the bottom of the world?
There is. Now, the North Pole is the center of an ocean 10,000 feet deep. The South Pole, the center of a plateau, 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents that are slightly frozen. The Antarctic continent is surrounded by a belt of ice, frozen seas of at least 1,200 miles thick. Now, the south is a plateau. It gets, in some places, 14,000 feet up. I've been over areas about 13,000, and it's a little bit chilly up there. So there's that big difference between the top and bottom of the world. The North really isn't very cold up there on the Arctic Ocean.
The North isn't really that chilly up there. That's interesting, isn't it? In the Smoky God, that book, if you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, it's a book, Smoky God. These guys, father and son, sail north, and it gets colder, but then they hit this, sea that calms out, and it starts to get warm again. And then they find lands with giants living there. Interesting book. And what I find interesting about that Admiral Byrd interview on the Long's Jeans Chronosphere, great name for a show, is he says it's crowded at the North Pole. It's getting crowded up there. Interesting for resources and military. What's going on up there, right? Because most of our eyes are on the south, right? On the outer ring, not on the middle. Is that by design? And then, yeah, of course, he says there's land past Antarctica. He says it's the highest land there is. It's basically a shoreline, right? A rim to keep the water in. So again, let me know, what do you think's going on with the Antarctica, the South, and the North Pole?
Real or real?
So, when people continually ask me to show them the edge, how? Because right inside this one little ice ring right here is the known lands, okay? Outside that, you've got the Ancestral Republic, which is right here. I'm sure you've heard of them if you've read The Navigator That Crossed the Ice Wall. But when someone like Elon Musk says he wants to go to Mars, land of Mars, right here, human colony, okay? So, let me show you a little bit of something. Let me show you something. Lands of the Anunnaki, right here. That's one of our controllers. You see how close they are to us? How easy it would be to reach us? And here's another one. The lands of the custodians. They're pretty close too. But I'm saying I'd guesstimate that at maybe 60, 70,000 miles. A lot easier to fly that distance than to come from outer space, right? But let's look around here. We got lands of Neptune. Here's the planets, right? Lands of Neptune. Lands of Venus. Lands of Saturn. Lands of Jupiter. And inside the lands of Jupiter, you got the lands of Zeus. So now we start getting into some mythology here. Pegasus. Lands of Hercules. Cassiopeia. Even a galaxy. Look at there. Andromeda. Right? But if you look at the edge of this map, it's cut off. So this plane is much, much, much larger than this. There's supposedly 178 domes. This isn't this isn't hardly any of them. This is just a small portion of that. But what makes more sense to you? That the aliens come from outer space, way out in an endless vacuum, or they just come from like here, or like here, and just fly there? They can just fly to us. Think about that next time you ask someone to show you the edge. Okay.
Yes, well, that map, I'm not sure where it originated from. I think it was the channel Nos Confundus, but is it real? Who knows? Who knows where any of that came from? I don't know. It's an edge, right? We can't prove it, but it is interesting with Elon saying he wants to go to Mars. Obviously, extraterrestrials are from extra territory, and it makes much more sense for them to travel, tens of thousands of kilometers or miles rather than light years. And, when they get here to crash, that makes a lot more sense to me. But what do you think? Are there outer lands and to that extent, is it an infinite plane, do you think?
Let's say we're in Miami and we're looking out over the wide open ocean. That ocean is deep space. The orbit around the Earth is the shoreline where the waves are crashing. The deep water is space. And there is a continent out there 3 times the size of Africa. That's the moon.
And there's that.
So you think the Jews are the ones controlling the world? Well, you're not entirely wrong. But what if I told you there are families that are even more powerful who are enslaving humanity, and the Jews are their fall guy? So who is the hidden hand? Well, that would be the 13 families that control the Vatican, Jesuits, and the Knights of Malta. Pope Boniface VIII created the Unum Sanctum Papal Bull, which is an express trust claiming all the souls on this planet. The most powerful and elite families today are the Farnese and the Orsini bloodlines. For reference, the Rothschilds come from the Farnese bloodline, and Queen Elizabeth comes from the Orsini bloodline. The Grey Pope, who holds the most power in the Vatican and controls the White Pope and all the Black Popes, is Pepe Orsini. The Medici family controls the media and medicine, shocking, based on their name. And the Colonna bloodline is where Christopher Columbus is from. And it's also the family that controls the District of Columbia. Are you seeing the pattern yet? All US presidents also have ties to these bloodlines or the Jesuits. The money, the banks, the government, they all tie back to these ancient and elite Italian and Persian bloodline. All modern religions were created and controlled by these powerful families as well, whether it's Islam, Judaism, or Christianity. These religions that used to be more scientific and literally based have become perverted by Babylonian occultists who worship Saturn. Baptism, communion, circumcision, when you really look at them objectively, they're occult rituals. When you start to truly unravel the dark forces behind every war, atrocity, and inquisition, they always tie back to these satanic murderers who practice black magic, pedophilia, and human sacrifice. These are the families that are truly behind the New World Order agenda, and they're trying to create World War III between the Muslims and the Jews. It's a giant ritual sacrifice. When you look to DC, all you see are Roman structures, and it shows you who's truly behind all of the atrocities in our world and our government. Our country has been controlled by Rome since its inception. So while Judaism and Zionism have become satanic cults, when we only focus on them, we're only playing into the hands of the people behind them who are even worse. Stop letting them operate in the shadows, or else you're just furthering their agenda.
Yeah, it's time to turn away. Stop giving them our fear, Loosh, for starters. Stop giving them our money, our wealth, and start taking back everything they've stolen, right? I mean, it's a weird realm to be in, right? It's like this battle, the good against the bad, the light against the dark. There's a whole Star Wars thing, right? Both using the Force, but the light's battling the dark, and the dark are the invaders. What they are, where they come from, I really don't know. At the moment, my best guess is that their god is some psychopathic sycophant that's based on electricity, and that's what all the data centers and AI and everything is about. That the closed circuit, the L electronic circuit of the L-ites, the Elohim, all this kind of stuff. But definitely, it's the 13 families, down here in the realm, and then it goes down the line, right, of their pyramid of control. Basically, it's a big club, and we ain't in it.
Israel just admitted that they are trying to summon the Antichrist, and this gets way worse than you guys can ever imagine. So Israel just put out a recent video with supposedly Netanyahu coming here publicly saying they are going to summon the Messiah, that it's not going to happen soon, like within this week, but it will happen. That the war in Iran is going to bring them closer to summoning their Messiah. Now, what's really dangerous about this is that wasn't Netanyahu, that was AI. He has 6 fingers on his hands multiple different times throughout the video. So my question is, if that's not Netanyahu admitting this, who is? Who is telling us that they are about to summon the damn Dajjal into the world? Now, at the exact same time, US military officials are telling the troops that Trump was anointed by Jesus to come cause Armageddon. Yes, that is right. Military commanders are telling the troops that we are about to go to the point of summoning the Antichrist, that the Dajjal is going to walk amongst this earth, and the war in Iran is so this can happen. Now, please keep in mind, Trump is the only president in recent history that did not swear on the Bible whenever he was appointed presidency. Yes, Trump never swore on the Bible. He is not a Christian. Every missile that Israel has launched in the past few years has been religiously motivated. They've been doing this so they can summon the Dajjal. I've been trying to tell people for years and years and years. I've been warning everyone. And people just don't listen. They don't understand. And it's at the point where how much more evidence do I have to bring you guys? Israel's admitting it. The US military is even saying that Trump's going to do this. They've been preparing the red heifer ritual, which is one of the things required. Now their next step, the next thing they have to do is to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This entire war and all this conflict and all this death and all this sadness that's going on is for this to happen. These Zionist religious extremists are trying to end the world so they can summon the Antichrist.
Well, there you go. They're trying to summon the Antichrist. The Dajjal that he kept referencing in that just basically is an Albanian word for devil or demon, bad spirits, jinn, similar to the jinn. Yeah. So what do you think about all this? Is this real? Is this what they're doing? Are they actually religious fundamentalists, or is this all a story for us to buy? That they've definitely, Trump's definitely got a replica of the Ark of the Covenant at Mar-a-Lago. Well, it was. I'm not sure where it is now. We've seen the footage of the red heifers that they've produced, and they're saying that they're going to start rebuilding the temple. And, this is clearly the story. This has all been told. This is all out there quite easily. This is the stuff they want us believing, which obviously makes me think it's probably, a bum steer, right? So what do you think is really going on here? Obviously, they love their death and their ritual and all this kind of stuff. But do you think it's just a big game, just a big play, just to keep us confused while they do other stuff? Or do you think they are like religious fundamentalists, at the core, either Abrahamic or Luciferian? Let me know your thoughts.
Is sugar so critical in the healing process as well? I know, but I want to hear your expert.
Okay, I've been doing interviews, thousands of them over the last 5 years. This is the first time anyone's asked me that. I'm so excited. Okay, did you know that sugar, when you eat it, a donut, Pop-Tart, piece of bread, doesn't matter, Kool-Aid, Dr. Pepper, did you know that when you swallow sugar, they have known for 70 years that it goes inside your bone marrow and it suppresses within 45 minutes your body's ability to produce white blood cells that fight infections like bacteria, yeast, viruses, funguses, and parasites? Did you know that it literally shuts off your immune system and makes you more susceptible to all viruses, all infections? And did you know that they compared sugar to prednisone? Prednisone is a steroid. And do you know that its job is to suppress your immune system? In fact, it's called an immune system suppressant. Did you know that sugar suppresses your immune system more than prednisone does? So if you're trying to fight an infection, if you're worried about the bird flu in the future, and I find out you're eating donuts and Pop-Tarts and cereal in the morning, you don't care about your health. In fact, when I would walk around grocery stores during COVID, people would see me without a mask and they would start backing up for me. And these people were always overweight, wearing a mask, but they were afraid of me. And then I'd go like this, wait, are you really worried about getting COVID? And they'd go, yes. And I'd go, wait, am I scaring you because I'm not wearing a mask? Yes. Why are you scared? You're wearing your mask. I thought it protected you from people like me. And then I'd go like this. If you're going to tell me to put on my mask, which lots of people would, this is what I'd say to them. I will put on my mask when I see you go put up the Dr. Pepper that's in your basket, when you put up your Gatorade in the basket, your Pop-Tarts, your donuts, your cereals, when you go put that back on the shelves, those things in your basket make you more susceptible to all infections and diseases. Why am I going to think you really care about your health? Go put that stuff back and I'll put on my mask. I wasn't eating that stuff.
That conversation? Did you actually have that conversation in a grocery store?
Multiple times. Yeah, I wouldn't wear a mask in there and everybody'd start backing up and yelling at me, calling for security. And I'd go, hold up. Just look it up. Anybody Google it. What does sugar intake do to your ability to fight a virus? Every virus, period. You cannot fight it if you eat sugar. And they know it.
You know what's wild is when you eat refined sugar, not only are you getting these bad side effects, but you're also missing out on good effects. Honey, for example, can actually benefit the immune system. Follow for more no BS medical education.
And of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. Interesting, right? They say that sugar is more addictive than heroin. One of the hardest things to get off, and it's in everything. It's in everything. And, when you go to the supermarket and things, go through the checkout, it's all at little kids' eye level, right? The brightest, sparkliest sugar they can get is all there, right? They want to get us started on it early. Of course, that helps them with their big pharma agenda, right? They get patients for life. But yeah, there you go. 45 minutes after you eat sugar, it's in your bones, suppressing your white blood cell manufacture. Where do I sign up? I definitely want to try that one.
Wait, did you know that there's a difference between public and private when it comes to this matrix? Well, if you didn't, let me explain. It's important to note that the true and aboriginal name for the Cherokee Nation is Ananawea. And this is important to note because Ananawea is the private name. Cherokee is the public. You see, back in the day, many of the Englishmen couldn't pronounce or properly say our tribal names. So we created English ones that they could interpret and understand. Which now explains why the spelling of American Indian tribal names beginning with CH is generally not the original indigenous spelling. It is usually the results of European explorers, missionaries, traders, and government officials writing indigenous names using alphabets and pronunciations and rules of their own language. So this is how you get tribal names like Cherokee, Cheyenne, Chickasaw, Choctaw, which now brings me to the point that we should always remember that there's a difference between reality and commerce. And to me, this is the part where I see most of my tribal brothers, Moorish brothers, this is where they fall off at because they don't understand the business side to this and how we have to attach it back to our family tribes and names. For a better understanding so that people could properly understand what's going on, think of our public tribal names as LLCs. You see, when we create LLCs, you already mentally know you are not the name. That is just the entity you are doing business through. And our ancestors knew that as well because they understood the foundations of public commerce. And I can prove it. Now, as you see here in the Treaty of Birds Fort, signed by the state of Texas and American Indian nations, you see the Cherokee captain signed here and he put his name there. You see the Chickasaw chief and he put his name and sign there. And that's because we understood that that wasn't our actual Aboriginal names, but it was a business name that we decided to sign contracts with. Now, what we must learn to do as melanated people is get out of the business name of being the blacks and the Africans and go back to being the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and Blackfoots that originally signed these contracts with these people because they have obligations to us in those business names. They don't owe us anything as the Blackadonians. Come on, y'all, this was all a part of erasing your history and getting you to identify as a mystery. So stop playing games and comment freedom down below and let us help you get your private affairs together so that we can walk in our ancestors' light.
Interesting. The public and the private, the change of names. And we see this everywhere. We see this, they change the names of streets, towns, cities, countries, right? And so it's all of us, because we all are known by our country name, right? Like I'm an Australian, but I'm not, because Australia is a corporation, right? Clearly. So I am I guess the tribe where my ancestors came from. And of course, this is what they've done. They've cut us off from the story. So we don't even know where we've come from now. So we can't even address ourselves properly. So that's how they've got us living in their public system. That's one of the ways, right? Because we don't know who we are, which is, of course, all part of the plan, right? This is, you all know about the reset and the orphan trains and, the changing of history and all this stuff, of bringing in the law, the maritime law. It's all to confuse us and also to make us forget, so we don't know who we are, so we have no standing in their dodgy legal system, which is fake anyway. But because most people believe it's real and they act like it's real, well, then it's treated as real, right? But in the end, none of us really know who we are anymore. I guess that's why we do what we do, right? That's why we take a wander through the strange realm on a regular basis to try and regather our memories, our thoughts, our heritage. But there you go, guys. That's the end of another one. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please do give me a like, share it around, hype it up, all that good stuff. Make sure you're subscribed. And of course, stay awesome, because you are. And I'll talk to you on the next upload. Bye for now.
And then what happened? Mama didn't let you. Oh no. Oh no. Her not let you on the couch.
Did Daddy go to work? And then what did Thor do? What did you do all day?
Tell him, say, I need you to put the cat down. Please. Ask him nicely.
I know one thing. You better leave me alone. 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 Leave me alone.
And so you ready to spread some love through our words? All right, you're gonna let me go first, okay?
Yes. Can you stop giving attitude, please?
Kobe, you need to get used to your leash.
No, you don't talk to me like that. Stop it.